Hello and welcome to another of my vlogs. Since we were last out together, we've had weeks of snow and ice, heavy rain, heavy winds, but today it's a lot calmer. 10 to 12 mile an hour winds, 9C, and it's supposed to be sunny intervals. You can maybe see some blue sky behind me. I'm out today to do another 100k in the local area. The last 100k I did was totally within Billingham, but today I'm going to stay within the boundaries of Stockton Borough Council, and for the most part stay as close as I can to that boundary. I will make one significant deviation though, but I'll tell you about that later in the ride. We'll start this ride just as we did for the 100k in Billingham, by going out through Wolverstone and then making our way past the County View Woodland Park to Seal Sands roundabout, past the RSP Salt Home and down to the Transporter Bridge. Whenever I'm down near the Transporter Bridge, I always pop round for a look at it. I don't suppose most of you will remember this, but there used to be a comedy programme called Boys from the Black Stuff about a group of road navvies, and they at one stage managed to con an American into buying the bridge here, and the last few shots of the episode were them dismantling the bridge. I just keep coming around to make sure that Middlesbrough Council don't try to emulate that stunt. We've completed 20 kilometres so far, and now it's through the Clarences, down Haverton Hill Road and along the north shore to the barrage. The tide's high today and there's still a lot of water running over the barrage. Now we're up through the car park and across the upper level of the barrage. At the end here we'll join the path, which is a combined pedestrian and cycle path which goes down to Teesside Park, the shopping centre, and we'll be dropping down onto what's known as the Wilderness Road. Stockton Borough Council's boundary runs along the line of the A19. You can just see the flyover for the A19 in the background. Unfortunately, bicycles are prohibited on the A19, so I've come here to the Wilderness Road, which parallels the A66. We'll go along here and turn left and make our way into Thornaby, where again it will be through estate roads, keeping as close as I can to the Stockton Council boundary. We're about to join the busy A174 for about half a mile, and then we'll be turning into the industrial estate to continue our way south as close as possible to the Stockton Council boundary. We go up and down the industrial estate 3 times using all the roads that go north to south. Otherwise, I'd have been short of distance for this 100k ride. And now, having left the industrial estate, we're out into a bit of greenery for a little while, so we make our way up to Maltby. We cross over the A19 as we come into Maltby, and funnily enough, Stockton Council boundary crosses the A19 here as well. We have to turn right here for Hilton, as just up the road about 300 or 400 yards we would have crossed from Stockton Council area to Middlesbrough. Since we last met, I've had my first COVID vaccination. I wouldn't presume to tell you to get it, but I would suggest if you have any hesitancy, you should search out as much information as you can and make an informed decision. The only thing I would advise is that you look for authoritative sources like the NHS, your local doctor, rather than use influencers on Facebook, Instagram or anything else. Often they'll just say something controversial just to try and get a few likes on their page or a few followers. It's up to you, of course, but please consider carefully, as obviously the more people that have the vaccination, the sooner we'll get out of all these lockdown situations. Leaving Maltby, I'm continuing south, but when I get to the end of Roger Lane, I'm going to have to turn right and go into Hilton. If I was to turn left, then I'd soon run out of Stockton Borough Council area. After passing through Hilton, I'll be making my way towards Ingleby Barrack. And at the T-junction at the bottom of this road, to keep as close as possible to the Stockton Council boundary, I should turn left and make my way through Leaven Bank. However, that won't give me 100 kilometres if I continue to follow the boundary that way. So I'm going to make my way down through Ingleby Barrack towards Stockton and then back out to Yarm using Yarm Road. And finally we leave Ingleby Barrack and the built up area for a little bit of green as we make our way down to Concord Way. Plenty of people out getting their exercise today. Now it's down Yarm Road to and through Yarm High Street. I wonder how busy it is today. Considering that non-essential shops are shut, it's quite busy here today. And now it's up the Spittal. And just as we level out, we turn left. For a tour around the estates at the south end of Yarm. This is Leaven Bank Road. If we had turned left at the Fox Covert, we'd have been coming up from the left here. But we're turning right. We'll make our way right along the south edge of Yarm and then turn back down to make a second passage through Yarm High Street. Now it's under the railway viaduct and we're back again at the bottom of the Spittal. This time, as we come up to the traffic lights, we keep left. The roundabout, I'm just continuing straight on the A67 towards Darlington. Can't go all the way as I'd soon run out of Stockton Borough Council area. So I'll go along here and in a little while I'll turn right and come back on myself to reach Early Nook. And now we're on another quiet road back to Early Nook. Runs alongside the railway for a little bit before we turn for Long Newton. The head is the base for the Great North Air Ambulance Service. The helicopter's now based here, and one of these days I might be lucky enough to come along and see it lifting off. You can just see it off there in the front. We're out in the countryside again. We'll be there for most of the way back, just going through some villages and not hitting towns. Just realised that I put most of the hills in the last third of this ride. Oh well, just have to keep using the legs and help to strengthen them after being laid off for a couple of weeks. We're in Long Newton. Turning right back towards Stockton before crossing the A66. Well, the snowdrops are out now, and that's a sure sign that spring's on its way. Now it's time to cross the A66 and to follow the boundaries on the north side of the road. And the road's nice and quiet today. Nothing coming. And another gap. Here on Darlington Back Lane, we need to turn right today. Normally I'd go left then right to Bishopton, but that would mean going into Darlington Council area. So it's along here today. Just coming to the outskirts of Stockton again, and here we turn left onto Red Marshall Road. And make our way to the village of the same name. However, this road changes name halfway along and suddenly becomes Drover's Lane before it reaches Red Marshall. It's a little while since I was up this road last, and I think you can see that the Teesside Model Flying Club airstrip is now pretty well drained. So maybe next time I come up, if the weather's not too bad, we might even see some models being flown. But onwards towards Red Marshall. I don't very often cycle through the centre of Red Marshall, but I thought I would today just for the hell of it. Normally just run up the outside of the village from Red Marshall Crossroads, but I'll come through the village and back down that route to the crossroads. We'll turn left here, aiming for Stillington now. We're on the climb to Whitton Village, and just up here on the right is the entrance to Honeypot Wood that I visited on my vlog entitled Me and My Cycling Journey. Not many people there today, even though it is a nice day. Sun now shining, though there is a cold wind. It was interesting this week to find out, in response to Cycling UK, British Cycling and Cycling Weekly asking the government to define local in terms of a cycle ride, the government has responded saying that cyclists should use common sense to determine what is local and what is not. Seems a bit funny to me, the way they've namby-pambied us through this pandemic, you'd think that we didn't have any common sense. And certainly the number of people being found at parties proves that there is a section of society that doesn't have any common sense. I think it would have been better if the government had done something similar to what they've done in Scotland and said local is defined as any place within 5 miles outside of your local authority area. Then at least we'd know for definite whether we're breaking the rules or not. Seems a bit arbitrary to me and puts all the onus on the police to decide what's local and what's not. What's your thoughts? I'm at Stillington now. Just about 12k to go to the end of the ride, and it's been enjoyable. Sun's out now, a bit warmer when you're in the shelter from that wind, but it's not been a bad day at all. Got to go through Thorpe Lees, and then I'm on the busy A177 for a short distance before joining Wynyard Road for the last little bit back to Billingham. Rolling hills now to get us across to Thorpe Lees. Now for our last bit of busy road today. As we come over the top of the hill, you can see a panorama of the Cleveland Hills laid out ahead of us. A bit hazy today, and maybe even a thunderstorm over to the right a little bit. We are on the final climb of the ride, up Bottle Bank to come to the Golden Gates, up Wynyard Hall. The toughest bit done. I've only got about 3 kilometres to do now to get home, and it has been a nice day, nice and sunny, and out of that wind it's been nice and warm. Still, it's not bad for a day towards the end of February. I hope these vlogs are encouraging you to get out on your bike during this time of lockdown. Doesn't really matter the distance you do. It can be a short one or a long one like I've done today. But just be careful. The last thing that you want is to have an accident and to land up in hospital. Nor do you want to have a mechanical failure so far away from home that you have to get somebody to come and collect you. Just enjoy your rides at this moment in time. You'll get to do further afield, I'm sure, during the spring and summer. By the time we meet again, Boris will have given us an update on his roadmap for getting out of the pandemic and lockdown. Hopefully he might have said that we can meet up with more people or travel a greater distance. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure looking forward to being able to get a bit further out than our local area. I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have, please like and subscribe. Until we meet again, bye for now, stay safe.